Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel again. You know what, I'm gonna start out with something like I did last week. Remember I was talking about 3 clients I used to work with when I was a case manager. So today I want to expand that concept because I really want to give you guys a lot of information, but not within a very short period of time. I want you guys to be able to absorb, to be able to understand what I'm trying to interpret it with all those clients that I used to work with. To be more specific, I want you guys to understanding how to work with those clients, how to manage, to see and how to shadow. If you are in the process of becoming a case manager, you can shadow with your senior case manager and to work with all those clients. So it's very important to find that niche, and also you will be able to interpret about what a previous case manager was doing with a particular client. So today, like I said, I want to explain that concept. But first of all, I would like to talk more about the population that we're serving. So in today's YouTube, you will be able to understanding a client's barrier. So when I mean client's barrier is like I was mentioning last week, client had a depressive symptom, client had the issue of ADL, client have a different type of mental health symptoms. And today we're gonna see how we can provide those solutions. I will give you guys a couple solutions and then you can kind of brainstorming and think about that. But first of all, there are many different categories we're working with a different type of client. But today we're just gonna focusing on the older adult suffer from disability. So I want to, last week we talked about what is case manager and what is case management. And then I also talked to you guys about the real cases study. Those 3 clients I used to work with. So today I want to briefly talk about how to help those adults with disability, to help them to connect with the medical or social service. So we're gonna spending a little bit of time talk about that, okay? So first of all, how we define disability. When we talk about a person who has a disability, we can think about a person will need a lot of resource. When we define a client is older, has a disability, definitely we have to talk about age, and then most important thing, when they get older, they need to have more healthcare system, right? So I'm just gonna give you guys a little summary about how to help a person to connect them with a different type of either medical or social service. First of all, we have to define about a disability. So let's talk about disability, ADA. So if you notice that if you're working with different clients, sometimes you have to make sure that client's building has an ADA accessible units, right? So that's ADA. Is American with Disability Act in 1990 is kind of prohibit discrimination based on a person have a disability. So when you see a person have a disability, most likely when they choosing the apartment, the ADA need to be compliant. Means that they need to have an ADA accessible place for them to go, especially elevator. If they live in a higher rises above 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor. So those are kind of important. So also ADA, I want to mention, they also cover employer and provide reasonable accommodation. So those are kind of important. The 2 keyword, reasonable accommodation and accessibility, means that they can utilize all those tools, utilize all those things to be able to get into those ADA service. So disability is very important in terms of how we as a case manager will be identifying if the client need additional service or not. And then that's something that you need to be able to identify when you're working with all those clients. So let me briefly tell you guys how we're gonna help them. So as a case manager, how to help those clients to access for the service. So if the client is not as independent as you think, you will be able to kind of, help them, because when they get older, they will experience lose and loss of the function. So those are kind of important things that you need to help them with as a case manager. You can provide a lot of benefit activity to help them improve their disease management and help improve their brain health. And then you also need to be looking at all those signs. When the client get older, they will start suffer more of a severe disability and loss of independence. So those are the things that you kind of need to help. You can provide a lot of resource for client, and you can do a lot of different type of support, giving them resource, giving different type of help, especially communicate with them and provide all those type of resources important. You can also utilize caregiver support. When they were at home, you can do a lot of financial checkout. You can provide some kind of psychosocial impact education. And legal aid is one way to help them to continue to support themselves. And also, you definitely can, like I said, utilize a caregiver support to make sure that they can live in the community, continue to live in the community. So that's something that I just want to give you guys a brief summary of how to help those adults who suffer from disability to get some kind of medical or social service. So let's discuss more about identify a specific of a client's barrier, client's deficit, and we can go from there to see how we can help. So last week we talked a lot about ADL. So how to support a client who has ADL? There are a couple of things I thought about it, but the most important thing is to train their daily living skill. Make sure they understand how to prioritize their options. And then sometimes provide some facility as well. And of course, improve their daily living skill. This including, client need to know how to do a laundry. Those are very simple things for us, but that's not a simple thing for them, for sure. We can do some kind of role play to make sure that client give us feedback. And then we can, of course, connect client with some kind of peer support resource that kind of supporting within their daily life. And then what did we talk about last time again? We also talked about depression, right? So dealing with client who has depression, there are many things, but I just want to give you guys some key points. First of all, the client need to be acknowledge their depression. Why is this important? Client need to have a self-awareness. They need to understand that they suffer from depression. And then we can kind of help client to trace back their past success in order to help them to deal with their future depressive symptoms. So if they have some kind of past success, you can kind of encourage those clients, motivating a client to do a better job. And we also have to make sure client understand the early warning sign. And then that was part of the WRAP plan, WRAP. I never talked about that before, but I kind of utilized that a lot during my past career. So early warning sign is actually coming from the WRAP plan, WRAP. So you can also utilize that to help a client to identify their depressive symptoms. And of course, you have to make sure client will be able to identify their strength in terms of their depression. They need to understand how to choose their strength, how to dealing with the challenge in the future, and provide a lot of strategy. So once they will be able to strategizing with their own depressive symptoms, they will get a better result. So what did we talk about last time again? So the client has an ADL issue, depressive symptoms. Yeah, anxiety. So anxiety is the other thing. Anxiety is very different from depressive. Anxiety is more, let's say depressive is more passive, and then anxiety tend to be more faction. So it means that you can see from the servers. The client, if they develop anxiety symptoms, you may have to coordinate your effort to kind of understand how to support a client and make sure they can develop different type of goal in the future. And of course, you have to explain to the client about the nature of the differences between those anxiety, fear, worry, and panic attack. A lot of people who suffer from depression, anxiety may develop panic attack. So you need to do a lot of, let's say, explain meditation, the importance of meditation, like I said last time. You need to provide a lot of section to make sure client will be able to access to those opportunities. And then you can also utilize motivational skill in mind. That is one of the things can help the client to reduce their anxiety. Other thing, a little bit complicated, but I think I can kind of briefly talk about it. The client will be beneficial from systematic desensitization. Means that client can learn relaxation skill, client can develop their own stress skill, client can communicating with their family member for sure, and understand what triggered their anxiety. I guess last time we also talked about aggression. I think probably not aggression. We talked about someone who suffers from a borderline personality disorder, right? So borderline personality disorder is very difficult to treat. Like I said before, they are not easy to be identified sometimes. And the psychiatrists also have a hard time to determine if a client does suffer from borderline. So that is aggression. Because a lot of person have borderline personality disorder, they suffer some type of aggression, either the passive aggression or regular aggression. So in terms of aggression, of course, I think the best way from my experiences is to previously effective review their coping skill, the coping technique that you used to help them before. And of course, the client may need to have a structure of life. It's really depending on what your client is, because a person who develops a certain type of borderline personality disorder, they will be more suitable if they do have a structure of life. If they can have certain type of pattern, what they do during the daily time to kind of occupy in their time, so they will not think too much about their own aggression or we don't want to have a lot of recurrent borderline personality disorder. So that's a key word, to encourage client have a structured type of life, and of course to affirm the client their past success when dealing with aggressive thought and behavior. I think that's kind of important too. And then we also, I think the key point, the most important thing is to help client to understand the way in which others may view behavior as aggression. Okay, aggressive. But those people who have aggressive or borderline personality disorder, they're not aware their aggressive has been, when they talk to people, their aggression, sometimes they are not self-aware. So we just have to remind a client that they need to understand their aggression. You will be surprised a lot of clients are like that if you work in a case management field for many years. So those are the things I think as part of my career journey, that's what I learned and that's what I experiences. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's lecture, enjoying today's information. If you do have any question or concern or comment, feel free to leave any comment below. I will be able to answer all the questions that you may have if when I see all those questions coming. So thank you for tuning to my channel again, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.